Good morning, Shawn here with AO. Hope you guys are off to a great day. We're going to do a mentor session and answer some questions today. If you have any questions, make sure you log into the mobile application, and at the bottom right-hand side of the screen, you're going to see an area that you can tap on with a link directly to the portal. If you enter your credentials into your phone, that way every single time that you click on that, it takes you right into the portal and you can ask a question within a couple seconds and be done and back onto your day. The more questions you ask, the more help you're going to get and value you're going to get from AO, and you're also going to benefit other members. So don't be worried about asking bad questions. Just get in and ask questions. This is how we get to know you as mentors and help bring more value to you in your life. Okay, let's get this thing started. The first question comes from Carrington, and Carrington says, what is the best way to learn how to answer objections in a confident manner? The background is I run a commercial photography business specializing in product photography. When talking with prospective clients, what is a good way to increase confidence and learn answers to questions or objections that won't lead to more questions? Okay, let's start there. I don't think that we can ever prevent more questions from coming. We want to see that if a prospect is willing to ask questions, that means that they're still sincerely interested in the product or service that you're offering. We as salespeople, we want to welcome more questions. One of the things that I was taught when I was initially getting into sales is my sales trainer taught me that during every single meeting with a prospect, that it was important for me to write down the question, every single question that they asked. And that way, after I was done with the presentation or the meeting, I could go back during my weekly strategy sessions and start looking at every question that was asked and formulating a great answer. That way, I was prepared the next time somebody asked that question. This is how we build confidence, which is the question you're asking, how to build confidence. The way to build confidence in anything we do is to practice. The more sessions you have done as a product photographer, the more confidence you had that you were going to do a better job for your clients, right? It's the same thing with anything. The more we practice, the better we're going to get and the more confidence we're going to build. So get out there, talk to as many prospects, get as many questions as you can, go back each week, think about all the questions, how to develop answers to those. Now listen, sales is any type of skill, just like we talked about, Carrington. You had to pay to learn about the cameras you use and all of the different software that you use. You might have taken some classes. Same thing with sales. If you need help with establishing your pitch and answers to the most commonly asked objections or questions, you can hire Tom Black for $500. It's a special offer only for AO members. For $500, he will work with you to develop scripted answers to all of your objections, and that will make you more money. One of the best $500 investments you can make. If you want to take advantage of that, just send me an email and I'll get you an introduction over to Tom. Okay, the next question comes from Carrington. And Carrington says, what are ways or key points when organizing / prepping for the upcoming year? The background is I run a commercial photography business focusing primarily on product photography. Most of my journey I have been going on with no clear plan or action, winging it, so to speak. Throughout my AO journey this far, I'm getting more organized with a vision, plan, goals, etc. What are the key areas to focus on when prepping for the new year to set yourself up to go in strong? Well, opinions are going to vary on how to do this. One of the things that I like to do, and I'll have some other mentors answer this for you. One of the things I like to do is I like to say to myself this. I ask myself this question. What would have to happen in 2022 for me to feel on December 31st of 2022 that 2022 was a success? I look at 7 areas of my life, and this is in my goal mindset workbook or book, whatever you want to call it. Spirituality, family, friends, dating, health and fitness, career and finance, and philanthropy. I look at all 7 areas and I take a look at my life right now and I figure out which are the areas that I want to prioritize 2022 on, and I set goals that I believe will have to be done over an entire year, activities that will over the entire year that will finally achieve that goal by December 31st. And that way, when I look at my end of year plan, I say, what are the things that I achieved and what are the things I didn't? My goals throughout the year is to make sure that I'm checking off all of those annual goals. Some of them I might mark off in January, some February, some April, some September. But at the end of the year, I get to look back and say, I accomplished everything I wanted. I feel successful and that 2022 was a success. That's how I start. I start with the end in mind. So if I'm setting goals for next year, I want to know exactly what I want to have accomplished in that year in order to feel successful. Whoop. There go my eyeballs. All right. Next question comes from Keenan. What's up, Keenan? Long time, my brother. Please get in and do some more Flex Fridays. It's been a while. Okay, Keenan asks, where should I look or who should I talk to about setting up all the legal and accounting things needed for starting a business in Canada? The background is I have 2 businesses that I'm currently testing the first products in, no sales or marketing yet, but I'm getting close and I want to make sure I have all my ducks in a row for when it's go time. I want to make sure I have taxes covered, where to apply taxes, any legal requirements, and I'm in Canada, specifically Alberta. So obviously I prefer to know how to do it here. Thanks. Keenan, I have absolutely no idea, but the cool thing about AO is we have members in Canada. Why don't you reach out to Shirley, concierge at askamillionaire.com and say, hey, Shirley, would you please connect me with Kimberly Vincent and Alana Smith? And they are 2 business owners in Canada. And I bet they would be able to put you in touch with their accountants and their legal people on all the different things that you're going to need in order to have the legal and accounting things done for your business. There's the power of AO, my brother. Okay, next question comes from Asia. And Asia says, can I hire someone for the tutoring side of my business while I fill up the SAT prep part of my business? The background is, the purpose of prep is a one-stop shop for everything study skills, college admissions, and SAT prep. I know we discussed filling up every single one of my slots with SAT students, which are higher ticket, but I keep getting tutoring requests, which are a big part of my business and a part of my business that I know well and could develop a great training process for. While I'm filling up, I was wondering if it would make sense to hire a tutoring junior, train them to my exact standard, and also continue filling up my own schedule as well. Thanks. P.S. Thank you for that freelancer to business owner training, as it is really helping me understand what I need to do to grow. Okay, can I hire somebody? Well, of course you can hire somebody. I would hire somebody when you can see in the very near future, a month or 2 months, no sooner than that, or no longer than that. When you start to feel like you are going to have all of your slots filled within a very short period of time, 1 to 2 months, that is when I would start recruiting and trying to attract a junior tutor that you can start training. Until then, keep filling up your slots, booking out your calendar of the 40 slots that you have, and keep making more money. And that would be my recommendation. But of course, you can continue to fill up those slots and hire somebody when needed. That is the ultimate goal, right? Okay, next question comes from Rohit. And Rohit says, how do I go about cutting out the middle person and going straight to the distributor or manufacturer? The background is that I sell exotic snacks and drinks from around the world in Toronto. My suppliers are from Toronto, but I want to cut them out and go straight to the source. Where I can get these goods for cheaper than what I pay for right now? I want to become a wholesaler too. Okay, this one is super easy, and I have experience with this, and there's probably a couple people in the group like Todd Ferguson and a few others that could help you with this. Gabriel, one of your mentors, he can help you with this. It's called picking up the phone and contacting those manufacturers and distributors and asking them what it would take for you to be a wholesaler or distributor with them. I know that seems simple, and sometimes we get cloudy thinking that there's some other way, but manufacturers generally pick and choose their business model of how they're going to do distribution. Sometimes they're going to do direct to consumer. Sometimes they're going to wholesale it. Sometimes they're going to use distributors. Sometimes they limit the number of distributors. Sometimes they have master distributors. They've got their own formulas of who and how they want to sell their products. And all you have to do is contact them and say, I want to be a distributor and I'd like to determine what are your volume commitments needed in order to become a distributor or a master distributor or a wholesaler, etc. Just pick up the phone and start calling. Okay, next question comes from Kimberly Vincent. And Kimberly says, what are your suggestions of ways to get my presentation for Serene Workforce out to large groups of prospects, HR, and CEOs at the same time? Thanks. Background is Serene Workforce is a new business model that offers virtual care, information webinars, and on-site massage therapy for large companies. We solve problems related to employee stress and pain management for increased productivity and corporate bottom lines. I have great experience with this one, Kimberly, so I'm going to tell you how I did it, and then you can determine if it's something you can do. My last company, I sold to hotels all throughout the United States of America. There are a wide number of hotel chains like Marriott, Hilton, Choice, Cendant, Intercontinental Hotel Groups, Kimpton, and all the others, right? And then there's also property management companies, and there's ownership groups, and then there's individual franchisees that own these hotels. So obviously, I could not physically pick up the phone every day and contact 30,000 hotels at one time, right? So how do I reach 30,000 hoteliers as fast as possible? What I did is I went out and I proved the business model. Myself as a salesperson, I started making sales calls, and I wanted to find out how much money, if I devoted all my time and attention during revenue generating hours of the day. These are days that I could physically meet with hoteliers or call them from a prospecting perspective, because I'm not going to call a hotel general manager at 9 o'clock at night. They're not going to be there. So I learned there were certain times of the day that I could call and or meet with hoteliers to sell my products and services. All the other time was non-revenue generating activities, fulfilling orders, customer service, accounting, etc., right? I went out there and I focused all my time and attention for 90 days on selling my product or service. The goal of that 90 days was to determine how much revenue could I create in that 90 days. What was the profitability of that revenue? What was the sales training that I would need to do if I was going to train somebody else to do this for me? Once I had those numbers and that data and the sales training process down, I then knew what type of incentive compensation plan I could put together, and I started recruiting salespeople. And so I hired my first salesperson. Then I hired another. And then we built up a team of salespeople. So this allowed me, through salespeople, to reach more people. Because if I have 4 or 5 salespeople calling 100 phone calls a day to different hoteliers, we were going to get through that list of 30,000 hotels a lot faster. When I had the salespeople out there calling on the hotels individually and management companies, that allowed me and freed me up the time as a CEO to start actually bridging and building relationships at the corporate level of the hotel chains by going and meeting at corporate Marriott headquarters, at corporate Hilton headquarters, at Cendant and Choice and Intercontinental. And this allowed me to work from a bottom-up approach, my salespeople working from the bottom directly with the hoteliers, and me working from the top at the franchisor brand level. And my efforts would always help out this effort, and we would meet in between. And that's how you can reach more people. Now, that's from a business-to-business perspective. From a business to consumer, depending on the type of business, you might be able to do advertising to get in touch with your people. Another way might be to attend conferences and trade shows, of which hundreds, if not thousands, of those HR people and CEO people were attending conferences, and you could meet them over the course of a few days by setting up a booth instead of talking to them all individually at their locations. So those are some of the ideas that I would use if I was going to try to reach more people in a quicker amount of time. Okay, hope that helps. Okay, the next question comes from Rosalie. And Rosalie says, what factors should I consider when creating an exit strategy for my business? The background is I would like to structure my business to operate without me so that I have the option to sell it. Okay, fantastic. Well, every type of business has its own needs and requirements that are needed in order to be sold and have an exit strategy. what I would do is I would go talk to some business brokers. They're all over the country. And I would say, hey, I have an accounting practice or I have a bookkeeping practice, and I would like to know what are the size of some of the deals that you have done where you've helped CPAs or bookkeepers or accountants sell their business? What types of things went into the valuation? Was it annual revenue? How much revenue? Was it the number of clients? Was it how big the team was? What type of team do I need to have that makes somebody feel comfortable and that it would increase the valuation of my company? I would start learning about the industry itself and what types of things are needed from an exit strategy perspective, because it's different for every business. A software company might be one thing and a small business might be another. So go out there and talk to a business broker, and they're going to be your best source of information as to what it takes and what kind of valuation you would need, and then what kind of things you would need internally. We've talked about this in the past here in the group, that when somebody's going to buy a business, the best thing that the seller of the business could have is 3 years worth of audited, truly audited by a big 4 accounting firm, audited financial statements. That way the buyer knows that you're not lying about your numbers, which sometimes sellers love to lie about their numbers. So if you have audited financial statements, that increases the value of your company because the credibility of the information and numbers that you're giving to the buyer is more credible, okay? The next thing is that the bigger the company is, generally speaking, the higher the multiple of the valuation, because a lot of people think, well, I have one big client and I make $2 million a year. Well, what happens if you lose that one client? There goes your business. But if you've got 10 clients doing the same amount of revenue total, but it's spread out among 10 clients, if you lose one, it's not that big of a deal. The risk factor goes down. So these are things to take into consideration. The more clients you have, the more recurring revenue streams you have, the more you can show how long clients stay with your company, and then the more stable and strong, for the lack of a better word, of your team, that would allow that if you stepped out, the team still stayed, and a new owner could just step in and take over the business without missing a beat. That adds to credibility and value in your company as well. All right. Hope that helps, Rosalie. And the last question comes from Rosalie. And Rosalie says, get something on my glasses. Rosalie says, what is the best way to introduce policy changes and retainer increases to existing clients? The background is, in my accounting firm, I have been very flexible and have helped clients apply for loans and grants at no additional cost to them. Going above and beyond for clients and would like to get compensated accordingly. I want to implement these changes without too much backlash. Well, listen, when you start charging somebody after you've been doing it for free, there's always going to be the potential of backlash. That just means that you did not create a good system for yourself. There's no substitute when offering some sort of policy change or price increase. There's no substitute to you meeting with somebody face-to-face and explaining what's going on and then giving them the price increase and talking to them about it. There's no substitute to the face-to-face. Sometimes a business is too big that you can't physically meet face-to-face with every single one of your clients. So the next best would be a phone call. Phone call is second place to a face-to-face. If your business is so big that you can't do a phone call, then the third might be sending out an email announcement. Sometimes people put it on their invoices. I mean, the more personable you can be and make it, the less backlash you're going to get. Okay, but I'm going to leave you and everybody watching this with one thing. Generally speaking, and I'm going to be taking this advice at some point next year with AO prices. At some point, you can always increase your prices, cost of living, anywhere from 6 to 8%. And you might lose a few customers here or there, but by and large, by increasing your costs by 6 to 8% every year, you're generally speaking not going to cause any major rustle with your clients, and they're going to pay it as long as they still feel like they like you as a vendor or as a company. And so just like that with AO, I have not raised my prices from $99 in a couple years. We are going to be raising the prices to AO by a little bit because I want to start investing more in the infrastructure of the company, and I'm putting more money back in the business, and that's just part of business, is what we do. So face-to-face, when I'm going to announce price increases for AO, I'm going to hold Zooms. I'm going to send information about the mobile app. I'm going to give people plenty of time to know that the price increase is going to happen. I'm not going to like double it or triple it or anything to where it's just outrageous. It's going to be a very minimal, nominal one. I won't be able to physically call 2, 3, 4, 500 people, but I will make sure that I do it in the most personable way possible so that people understand why I'm doing it and why the company needs it. Okay? All right, I hope that helps, Rosalie. I hope that helps everybody watching. We got a good group in here, 11 people. I love it, love it. Make sure and get into the portal right now. And let me remind you, those 11 of you that are watching right now, please, I have 2 things I want to ask from you. 1, download the mobile app. Get it installed, turn on notifications, and move the icon to the very first page of your phone. That way you're always getting the announcements from an administrative perspective and all the different videos and things that I'm putting out. You'll get it right to your phone. Secondly, please make sure and do your Flex Fridays. A lot of you are not doing your Flex Fridays and you go a month or 2 without doing it. And then I talk to Shirley and I'm like, what's going on with this person? How are they doing? And we get worried about you. Your family, we care about you. If you don't know that I wake up every morning thinking about you and going to sleep thinking about you, now you know. So please do your Flex Friday. Set a reminder in your phone every week. Jump in, 2 minutes, get your Flex Friday done, and then go about your day. Okay? Hope you guys have a great day, morning or night, wherever you are in the world, and I will see you guys soon. And hey, if you guys don't know, Gabs, who is going to be a future mentor next year here in AO because his family business is now doing 7 figures over in Hungary, killer, amazing. He is going to be doing some marketing efforts for AO. And tomorrow he's doing his very first webinar to talk about how mentorship in AO helped him. And he's going to start trying to recruit and get more members in AO. If you want to support Gabs, check out the link in my bio on Instagram and get into the webinar. Any kind of feedback you can give him to make the webinar great or how he can position AO to be amazing like it is to help recruit more members. Let's support Gabs. He's a great guy and he is going to rock it out and be part of the 2 Comma Club in ClickFunnels next year. This guy is amazing. All right. See you soon and I will talk to you later. Peace out.